はい、アガサ・クリスティ ABC 殺人事件、前回の続きからやっていきたいと思います。前回この謎が全く分かんなかったんですけどね。やっと謎が解けた。
There, that's better.
ここから唯一気づかなかったのはこれだ。ここにちょっとなんか左と比べて、右の方がなんかちょっと色が変だっていうところですね。これに気づかなかった。
Could the screw be slightly loose? Could the screw be slightly loose?
こうか。で、あとこれだね。他の3つに比べて色が違ってたっていう。
Good. It should be possible to open the wooden panel. Look, a key. This could be useful. What's this? What a strange mechanism. I don't think it serves to turn the hands.
1。こっちが1かな。最初のこの全く分かんなかったのがさっきのところの、3122ってやつですね。ああ、これでやっとこれで
something clicked on the front of the clock.
これが分からなかった。で、これで反対側がやっと開くと。
This could be useful. Betty, I enjoyed a wonderful evening in your company, and I hope that we will see each other again very soon. D. My dearest Betty, I know that your art is already spoken for, but you are the most beautiful dancer I have ever had the pleasure of meeting, and I am impatient to see you again. Adrian.
ラブレターが2通。ベティのレコードを聞く。これだよね。
A record sleeve with an handwritten title. Betty must have recorded the demo. I'd be interested to hear it.
あれ
Without a doubt, Betty used to sing. A record sleeve with an handwritten title. Betty must have recorded the demo. I'd be interested to hear it.
あれこれ取っていくんじゃないんだ。 何が録音されてんのかね。調べなきゃいけないのか。多分これで鍵ってあれだろ。あれ。
Let us see. What is this cupboard hiding?
出た。これなんだ。本部給付給付じゃん。
This looks like solfège.
なんだこれ。
That doesn't work. I must have forgotten a step.
ん
That doesn't work. I must have forgotten a step.
いや、使い方知らんし。なんだこれ。なんだこれ。
There is bound to be a clue somewhere.
これは動かせんの？こっちは動かせない。こうか。
I heard the sound of a mechanism being triggered.
これ？次は。何これ？ 00A。何これ？ちょっと待って。00A ってなんだ？
This looks like solfège. There is probably a link with what I saw in the drawer. It looks like something goes in here.
まあレコード置いてないからね。これはなんだ？
That doesn't work. I must have forgotten a step. That doesn't work. I must have forgotten a step.
はなんだ。C。ちょっと待て、これを見ないと。観察 78T かな、これは。78T って下に説明書いてあるわ。これか。7、8。
Just have to put the record on the gramophone and start it.
これなんだ。
That doesn't work. I must have forgotten a step.
いや、手順知らないんだけど、これでいいのかな。
That doesn't work. I must have forgotten a step.
え、
That doesn't work. I must have forgotten a step.
どうすんだ。なんもないか。ん？あ、なんかあるわ。これか。これなんなの？あ、これで上がるのね。これ何？
That doesn't work. I must have forgotten a step.
いや、わかんねえ。これでこれか。ん？勝ちっつったけど。
Oh, Donald. We're in the middle of recording.
Sorry, Betty, but it's not wise. The doctor said you should risk your voice.
You're such a killjoy sometimes.
ね。
Betty was such a good singer.
It's true. Did she have any problem with her throat?
Yes, she had to be careful with her voice. Of course, she didn't follow the doctor's advice. If Don didn't insist, she... Well, it's too late for all that now.
ドナルド、アリス・アッシャー、被害者だよね。
It looks like this woman is single, but she has feelings for someone. She is looking so intensely at this photo. But is it really a sister that she's studying in this manner?
やっぱり怪しいか。
They made the perfect couple, am I correct?
Yes, in a way. She was pretty and he...
Well?
He's a bright man, with a promising career ahead of him. He would have made Betty a good husband. He was always attentive and generous. Oh, a true gentleman.
I hear a note of envy in your voice.
You must have heard wrong.
You have not mentioned Donald's jealousy.
There's nothing to say.
どっちかな、協力するか。
You are a poor liar, Mademoiselle Bernard.
Excuse me, Mr. Poirot, but I do not see why you are interested in our humble little crime.
It would appear that your sister's murder is the second in a series that we have to stop as quickly as possible. The first was in Andover, and the same as your sister, the murderer sent me a letter informing me that a crime would be committed in that town. Now can I count on your honesty?
Yes, you have my confidence, Mr. Poirot. Don is a quiet and sensitive young man. Slightly reserved, too. And as is often the case with reserved people, when he flew into a temper, he completely lost control. He could be so violent. Betty was frightened.
And when was this?
The first time was about a year ago. But they rowed more recently. Donald found out that Betty had lied to him. She said she was going out with a girlfriend, but she went out for dinner with a married man. It was an awful scene. She told him that until they were married, she was free to go with whoever she pleased. Donald turned quite pale and started shaking and kept saying one day...
Well?
He'd commit murder.
So you were afraid that he would become our main suspect. I know that Fraser was jealous, but I wonder why you feel the need to protect him.
Exactly. Had you not told me about the case, I would never have dared to tell you about this little matter. Don loved Betty with all his heart. I can't imagine for one instant that he would hurt her.
Very good, Mademoiselle Barnard. Thank you for your help.
Fraser is at the Ginger Cat. The police haven't spoken to him, but they want to.
Très bien, Hastings. Let's see him now. Au revoir, mademoiselle. My deepest condolences to your parents.
Of course, Mr. Poirot. And don't be too hard on Don. He's more fragile than he looks.
If you say so. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
彼女は事件の夜に何か予定が入っていたのか。三角 空発か。違うな。これかな。違うな。だよね。
Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
おっと、まだあるのか。これがいいな。これじゃねえかな。だよね。違うか。妹を殺す動機。違うのか。養子さん例でもない。お、来た。ドナルドにはベティを殺す動機があるのか。あ、1個証拠が足りないぞ。違うな。これはちょっと保留。あ、間違えた。さて、
You've seen Fraser, Hastings. What is your feeling?
He's a big chap. Fragile isn't exactly the word that springs to mind. I talked to his landlady before seeing him. She went to bed at 11. Fraser wasn't home yet.
Bien. Megan Barnard said he is a reserved character but with a nasty temper. We will see if this is the case. How do you do, Mr. Fraser?
You Hercule Poirot. Mr. Hastings said you wanted to speak to me.
Yes. I know that it may not be at the right time, but I would like to ask you a few questions.
さて。
This man looks suspicious.
Leave me alone.
Donald Fraser is in a terrible state, as if he hadn't slept all night. And he's drinking White Horse.
Leave me alone. Tell me that it's a mistake. That Betty isn't dead.
Sadly, your lady friend has been murdered, Mr. Fraser.
Oh, Betty, if only you'd listened.
If she had listened to you, she would still be alive. Should I take that to be a confession?
With that sort of thinking, you must send a lot of innocent men to prison. Under different circumstances, I might even find you amusing, sir.
It's no time for amusement, Mr. Fraser. It is time to find your fiance's killer. Did you know what her plans were for the evening?
She said she was having dinner with her sister.
Yet, Megan only returned to Bexhill this morning, Mr. Fraser.
I didn't know.
Right. May I ask you what you were doing yesterday evening?
I spent the evening working.
Your colleagues can confirm this?
No, I often take work home with me.
You are lying, Mr. Fraser. As was Betty when she hid the fact from you that she was seeing other men.
Betty was a very decent young woman. How dare you sully her memory?
I am not interested in memories of her, Mr. Fraser. I am looking for a killer, and I need you to be my closest ally. That is, unless you have something to hide.
Of course I don't.
Très bien. So, what were we saying? Where were you yesterday evening?
I looked everywhere for her, but in vain. When she said she was going to have dinner with her sister on a weekday, I thought it was strange. I tried not to think about it, but I was like a lion in a cage. I was convinced she was lying. So I went round all the restaurants in the town. When I didn't find her, I went to the next town. But nothing. I must have got home about midnight or 1 o'clock.
Did anybody see you?
I don't think so. I didn't talk to anybody. I was so furious.
Ah, I knew I'd find you here, Poirot. I thought the victim's young man was here.
Yes, is all yours, Chief Inspector. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
うな。ドナルドにはアリバイがない。暴力的な男だった。違うな。デートに出かけていた。嫉妬があった。ドナルドにはアリバイがないと。もしれない。すべての殺人を犯す動機があるのか。そうだよね。ということで、もう一回犯行現場に戻ると。
Fraser doesn't have an alibi and he's extremely jealous.
You are very skilled at summing up.
And yet you haven't asked Jap to arrest him.
It is too soon. But I agree, without the letters announcing the crimes, Fraser would already be behind bars. Bon, I think we have enough elements. Let's reconstruct the events at the scene of the crime.
I can't imagine how the murderer wasn't seen, though. Surely she must have struggled.
Let us try and imagine the scene. The killer and the victim are walking on the beach. Miss Betty has a bag, a belt around her waist, and carries her shoes in her hand.
だよね。
Both of them walk slowly to hut number 5.
進むだよね。
Both of them walk slowly to hut number 6.
ここで着替えるんだよね。
Miss Betty enters the hut. She leaves without her belongings. Then she hides a coat.
The killer tries to remove his victim's belt. She panics and tries to stop him. She runs away, pursued by her assailant.
No, there is no sign of a chase. Things must have happened differently. Let us think again, mon cher.
もう一段階進まなきゃいけないのか。
The killer and the victim are walking on the beach. Miss Betty has a bag, a belt around her waist, and carries her shoes in her hand. Both of them walk slowly to hut number 5.
進む。
Both of them walk slowly to hut number 6.
着替える。
Miss Betty enters the hut. She leaves without her belongings. Then she hides a coat.
で、ここじゃまだないんだね。で、もう一回
They
進
keep
むなんだ。
walking. Then she removes her belt.
The murderer moves behind her and then attacks her by surprise. The body falls, lifeless, on the sand.
Everything appears to match the crime scene, mon cher Hastings. That is exactly what happened.
攻撃するとベルト取るは意味がなかったのか。
Without the ABC, we might have suspected Mr. Asher and Mr. Fraser. But by signing his crimes, the murderer is making sure he's accused. In a way, it is very generous of him.
Generous? The murderer seduced Betty in order to lure her to the beach and kill her.
Indeed, the young woman was certainly careless, but not stupid enough to follow a stranger.
What are you planning to do, Poirot?
Return to London, mon cher Hastings.
あら。ロンドンに戻る。あれ？ああ、これでいいのか。
Right, back to London. There is nothing more for us to do here.
Jap has decided to reveal details to the press. The alphabet murder is now famous.
It is not a bad idea. The more people who know, the greater our chances of finding out something of interest.
Poirot, I have a bad feeling.
うわ、C か、次。
Poor Mr. Poirot, not so good at these little criminal matters as you thought yourself, are you?
チャーストン。
Rather past your prime, perhaps. Let us see if you can do any better this time. This time, it's an easy one. Churston on the 30th. Do try and do something about it. It's a bit dull having it all my own way, you know. Good hunting. Ever yours, ABC. Good hunting. Did you hear that, Poirot? The murderer seems to be taking it all as a game, a challenge. He will strike on 30th in Churston. We must warn Scotland Yard.
今日は何日かと。
By the way, Hastings, what day is it?
Well, looking at the calendar, it's the 30th. No time to lose. We must prepare our suitcases for Churston.
Mon Dieu, it is already 10 o'clock. I will call Scotland Yard immediately.
はい、では今回はここまでにしたいと思います。見に来てくださった方々、最後まで見てくださった方々、ありがとうございました。それではまた。